Welcome back to our channel, where we share updates and untold stories about Catherine, Princess of Wales, and her royal family. Today, we bring you some news. Princess Catherine and Duchess Sophie in tears over Queen Camilla's shocked change in the tiara rule. An insider source claims that Princess Catherine has been changing her jewelry in recent times while she has been attending to royal responsibilities. The change is in addition to paying respect to the late queen and wearing new jewelry. But she has not been wearing a variety of jewelry that was inherited from the late queen. This begs the question of whether Camilla truly altered the regulations to permit the wearing of royal jewels. A vault that has just been stirred. As ambassadors waited in line under silken banners for the most spectacular event on the court calendar, the gentle gold light of Buckingham Palace chandeliers streamed over polished parquet flooring on a crisp November night in the year 2024. However, the conversation that took place among the photographers had nothing to do with commerce or treaties. Because the aquamarine ribbon tiara, a piece that almost no one alive had ever seen worn, was prominently displayed on Queen Camilla's forehead, all of the cameras turned their attention to her. She was breathtaking in dark blue velvet. In the year 1970, the late Queen Elizabeth II wore it for a single occasion before putting it away in the jewel room, where it remained hidden from view. Over the course of 20 years, it was stored in a steel vault, and it was only brought out for the odd royal wedding abroad when it was lent to Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh. Now that Camilla had lifted it for herself, the internet immediately erupted with reports that the Queen Consort was rewriting the tiara rule book. Sections of X, formerly known as Twitter, claimed that Princess Catherine had received a ban from accessing the royal jewel vault. The makers of TikTok shot breathless explainers known as Camilla's crown coup. Reports of a jewelry civil war taking place within Buckingham Palace were widely circulated on tabloid websites. Royal reporters with years of experience rolled their eyes. Not a single one of the angry postings made reference to a physical palace order, and the court circular did not include any formal statements. Nevertheless, the incident brought to light a true change. Under the reign of King Charles III and Queen Camilla, royal jewels, particularly tiaras, were being moved about with more ease than at any other period since the 1950s. In order to comprehend that transition, it is necessary to peel aside a century's worth of etiquette, jealousy, and sometimes injured egos. One tiara, one woman was the old codification. Tiara privileges were subject to an unwritten but unbreakable regulation during the whole of Queen Elizabeth II's reign. This law stipulated that every senior lady was loaned a particular diadem and that she seldom, if ever, deviated from it. Despite her famous claim that the Queen's lover's knot gave her headaches, the Queen forbade her from wearing alternatives. Lady Diana Spencer, for example, exclusively wore the Spencer tiara, which was hers family, and the Queen's lover's knot. The aquamarine ribbon tiara was worn by Sophie, who was the Countess of Wessex at the time, from the time of her wedding in 1999 until the present day. Over the course of the late Queen's lifetime, Catherine, Princess of Wales, cycled 3 pieces of jewelry: her wedding Cartier halo, the lotus flower, and the lover's knot. She did not add any more stones to her collection. According to historians, the tradition may be traced back to Queen Mary, who, in the 1930s, started labeling the massive Windsor collection as working jewels that were borrowed for service. Queen Mary took this action to keep gems out of private hands. While Elizabeth II was in power, the agreement became ingrained in the culture. Several factors were practical in nature. The late Queen saw her jewelry as an extension of constitutional stability. She categorized each stone, and she memorized each wearer. She did not want any surprises to divert attention away from the message that the crown was trying to convey about continuity. Royal women were taught to regard their allocated tiaras as if they were military hat badges. They were not worn for personal flair, but rather as indications of status. In Elizabeth's Britain, jewels rarely surprised. That was the point, says Robert Hardman, a renowned court writer. That was the point. However, there were several downsides to the policy. Tiara spotting became routine and nearly boring for aficionados as a result of this thing. The most significant thing is that it stored hundreds of historical objects that were gifts from Indian rulers, czars, and maharanis hidden away in the shadows. Even palace conservators expressed their dissatisfaction with the fact that artifacts that were intended to be dazzling were collecting dust. The arrival of Camilla, a pragmatist, magpie, and modernizer, is noteworthy. The late Camilla Shand made her debut on the royal stage in 2005 when she married the Prince of Wales at the age of 57. At the time, she was already a grandmother. At the same time, she carried with her a practical understanding that gems, just like horses, were intended to be used. It was during her early engagements that she adopted the Boucheron honeycomb tiara, which was durable, comfortable, and stunning. She wore it so often that it became a shorthand for her public persona. In addition, Camilla was not bothered by the act of sharing, as was seen by the observers. She did not claim exclusive rights to either the Delhi Durbar tiara or the kokoshnik that belonged to Queen Alexandra, but rather she switched between the two jewels for official dinners, returning each one to the vault after the event. Gem historian Lauren Kiena, who chronicles court jewels on The Court Jeweler, argues that Camilla's revival of sidelined pieces signals custodianship, not conquest. The Court Jeweler. She seems animated by the thrill of revealing lost treasures. Look what's been hiding in your grandmother's attic, and by a desire to sprinkle extra stardust on her husband's new reign. This inclination was perfectly in line with Charles III's own philosophy of visible sustainability. In the same way that the monarch recycled coronation regalia rather than commissioning new gold, Camilla recycles history by unlocking drawers that very few palace staff had been able to access for decades. The journalists were shocked to find a hidden turquoise brooch nestling on her lapel during her trip to Germany in March of 2023. This brooch was a gem that Elizabeth II had acquired in 1942, but had never worn in public before during her journey. How are you? The premiere was praised as an intimate tribute to the legacy of the late Queen. Hello. This is the message. The Windsor collection is not embalmed so much as it is alive. What sparked the fire that started the rumor mill? Camilla chose to wear Sophie's trusted aquamarines in November 2024. This decision sparked discussion. Over the course of 25 years, the Duchess of Edinburgh has been a stalwart, and some commenters on the internet have speculated that she must have been stripped of her characteristic tiara. However, a more in-depth examination shows no indication of any kind of compulsion. A fortnight later, Sophie herself appeared at a Japanese state banquet wearing emerald satin and wearing the lotus flower tiara. This was a piece that Catherine had worn for the last time in 2022, and Buckingham Palace had explicitly listed it as being on loan from HM the Queen. Town and country Sophie had not lost any ground, rather, she had simply expanded her options. Meanwhile, Catherine, recovering from abdominal surgery, made headlines the moment she resumed her nighttime duties. In November 2023, at the South Korean state dinner, she astonished experts by displaying the Strathmore Rose tiara, which had not been seen since 1930 and had been a favorite of the Queen Mother. Vogue, the Bible of fashion, referred to it as a spectacular resurrection of a forgotten treasure. Vogue. If Camilla were stockpiling diamonds, how could Kate have managed to pull off such a coup? As one looked at the calendar more closely, the trend became more obvious. The number of tiaras that were being worn was increasing, not decreasing. A chronology of the emergence of fluidity. Over the course of the previous 2 years, a case study in rapid sharing has followed. May 2023. Coronation after party. Because the tiara at Westminster Abbey was not intended to be worn, Camilla makes up for it at the evening celebration by wearing the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara in conjunction with Queen Mary's crown. Reuse and recycle is not only Charles's credo, but it also gets its dazzling addendum. In November 2023, during the South Korean banquet, Camilla wears the Burmese ruby tiara, which she had only worn 3 times throughout her reign as Queen Elizabeth II. Meanwhile, Catherine presents the Strathmore Rose Town and Country Vogue. At the Japanese banquet in June 2024, Camilla is seen resting her head under Queen Alexandra's kokoshnik, while Sophie makes a spectacular debut with the Lotus Flower Town and Country performance. Camilla chooses the aquamarine ribbon during the Diplomatic Corps reception in November 2024, and rumors of a ban begin to circulate on People.com after her announcement. December 2024. Camilla wears the kokoshnik again. Catherine, who is still healing, does not attend the gala. Sophie wears her aquamarine necklace, but does not wear a tiara, which sparks a second wave of rumors that quickly cease to exist. At the beginning of the year 2025, Vanity Fair took a humorous approach to summarizing the trend by publishing a title that read, "Queen Camilla is putting her own stamp on the vault and letting others do the same." A look at how Europe handles it and why Britain is getting back on track. On the other side of the North Sea, such rotation is nothing new. It is common practice for Queen Sylvia, Crown Princess Victoria, and Princess Sophia to wear 3 distinct diadems that are taken from a community vault when they attend the Nobel Prize dinner that takes place every December. In the year 2023, Sylvia opted for the Leuchtenberg sapphires, Victoria went with the Baden fringe, and Sophia had her bridal tiara remounted with diamonds. The assortment of jewelry not only captivates those who are interested in it, but also emphasizes the importance of family unity. Similarly, in the Netherlands, Princess Catharina Amalia, who is 21 years old, recently appeared in public wearing the Melerio ruby parure, which was originally worn only by her mother Maxima, and is regarded as a national treasure. Britain's one woman, one tiara rule seemed more outdated than the continent's flexibility. According to Dr. Anna Whitelock, a historian, Charles III is aware of the importance of optics. She states that when European heirs trade jewels with ease, appearing hidebound at home weakens claims of modernity. Camilla's relaxing of duties is thus in line with a larger palace drive to present agility without sacrificing grandeur. The jewel trenches are now hearing voices. Without testimony from an expert, no inquiry may be considered finished. Talk of prohibitions is something that Lauren Keena, whose forensic blog has become the go-to logbook for royal treasures, ignores. She explains, "What we are witnessing is a classic example of how the absence of information causes rumors to grow wilder." During the months that Kate was unwell, Sophie took on more responsibilities, while Camilla supported the weight of the jewel load. Patricia Treble, a longtime royal journalist in Canada, adds that Camilla is behaving much like Queen Sylvia, showing each major tiara at least once so the public knows what exists. This is because the internet has turned it into a conspiracy. Former members of the royal staff favor the change. Speaking on the condition of anonymity, a retired dresser to Queen Elizabeth recalled the late monarch's concern that frequent changes would confuse the public like banknotes changing color. However, she acknowledges that social media has shifted expectations, saying, "People want novelty." In under 1 hour, the post reaches 50 million people when Camilla appears wearing a tiara that has been concealed since 1970. The image is the epitome of soft power gold. Cheers, jeers, and click thirst are all examples of public sentiment. Although there is a dearth of polling on Tiara politics, web indicators tell a narrative. Within 48 hours, footage of Camilla's entrance in Aquamarine garnered 12 million views on TikTok. The hashtag #Aquamarine Tiara trended at the same time that the hashtag Palace Jewels came into use. The comments fell into three distinct categories. 1. Fashion-forward fans applauding the style serve. 2. Conspiracy hunters alleging Camilla was culling Kate. And 3. Casual viewers simply dazzled by the giant blue rocks. Meanwhile, YouTube creators who specialize in royal gossip churned out explainers, with many of them repeating each other's unverified claims. This occurred because the algorithm rewards controversial content. Those in the traditional media adopted a more firm stance. The Times quoted an unnamed court source as saying, "If anything, Her Majesty has made jewels more accessible, not less." People magazine published a fact check with the title, "No, Queen Camilla hasn't banned Kate from tiaras on People," and Town and Country produced side-by-side photo galleries that showed Catherine and Sophie wearing new diadems over the course of the past year. Over time, the story lost its interest, leaving only the obsession with Camilla's magpie-like eye. The significance of tiaras regarding symbolism. Skeptics would wonder whether head ornaments, which are only worn by a select few nobles at specialized occasions, are worthy of being reported on in the year 2025. Symbolism, the unique currency of the monarchy, holds the key to the solution. Spectacular diamonds serve as quiet ambassadors of continuity, workmanship, and soft power, at a period when surveys suggest that the support of young people for the crown is decreasing. A British state supper provides host countries with a spectacle that is unlike anywhere else. It is adorned with velvet, orders, and jewels, all of which are symbols of decades of steady diplomacy. Because of this, every tiara cameo bears some degree of diplomatic importance. Camilla looks to have a hyper-awareness. She picked an aquamarine ribbon for the diplomatic reception, and it had the same oceanic color as the flag of the Bahamas, which was the country that was hosting visitors from the Commonwealth that evening. The first public appearance of her Burmese ruby tiara was at a banquet that was held in honor of South Korea, whose national symbol is a hibiscus in red. Reviewers acknowledged the brilliant symbolism. It was during the same week that the Waleses were in Glasgow that Catherine's Strathmore Rose, a Scottish diamond from the early 20th century, was discovered, providing a touch of regional flavor. This kind of planned decision gives the impression that the royal family is using diamonds as a kind of communication, a technique that dates back to Queen Victoria. What lies ahead for the future? Qatar in September and Sweden in October are the two states that are scheduled to visit the court circular in the fall of 2025, according to the court circular. Watchers of jewels are salivating. There is a possibility that Camilla may wear the kokoshnik, a style that was previously popular among the Russian elite and is reflected in contemporary haute joaillerie from Qatar. After she has completely healed, Catherine may request the Greville Emerald, which is a color that complements Qatar's national stripes. So long as the restorers complete fortifying the Poltimore's tiara-to-necklace system, Sophie could show off the Poltimore, which was last seen on Princess Margaret. The idea of digitizing the vault is a more extreme one, according to those with knowledge of the situation. There are now conversations taking place, as stated by a curator at the Royal Collection Trust, to photograph each and every diadem in 360-degree detail for the purpose of creating an online archive. The initiative, if it were to get funding, would make it possible for the general public to digitally visit the jewel room and trace the life stories of particular jewels for the very first time. Advocates of transparency regard it as a safeguard against conspiracies, while those who support it consider it paradise. Putting a stop to the myth while confirming the trend. The one thread that remains after 6 months of cacophony is that there is no edict that prohibits Catherine or Sophie from participating in anything. Instead, Camilla's term has revived long-neglected jewels. It has been brought to the attention of the general public that the Burmese ruby, the Strathmore rose, the aquamarine ribbon, and the kokoshnik have all been brought back to life in rapid succession. 4 different people have donned a total of 4 prominent tiaras. This speed is faster than any 2-year span that occurred throughout Elizabeth II's reign of 6 decades. It is important to note that neither Catherine nor Sophie has abandoned her former favorites. Kate continues to wear the lover's knot during events that are less daring, while Sophie continues to rely on her aquamarine necklace tiara for daytime galas. In contrast to the previous pattern, the new one is additive. There are rumors that even Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, who is not currently involved in royal life, is able to theoretically access Queen Mary's bandeau in the event that she ever attends another formal function in the United Kingdom. The concluding study focuses on how to maintain continuity despite change. By altering themselves just enough to seem ageless, monarchies are able to endure. The fact that Charles III allowed Camilla to exercise curatorial zeal over the jewel chamber is a perfect example of the delicate balancing act that must be performed. Tradition shines brighter when it is dusted up and displayed under fresh illumination. There is a general agreement among experts that the so-called new tiara rules are more of a reverse of Elizabethan prudence than they are a new bureaucracy. By relaxing the restrictions placed on dazzle, Camilla has, paradoxically, pushed the royal family closer to the standards of European culture while simultaneously bolstering the image of Britain as a nation with unparalleled diamond heritage. An indication that the bet is paying off is the public's attention, which can be quantified in millions of clicks. When the next flashbulbs go off in a Buckingham banquet hall, witnesses will not ask who was banned. The question is, which long-lost masterpiece will be revealed tonight? The palace, a monarchy that values theater as much as governance, would want this kind of discourse. Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts, and goodbye for now.